My name is I work with Magpeople, which is a steel company based in Denmark, and we have a product that's called Chaos, and we also have a product called Workflow. And the idea was our history, we come from a history of creating small plugins with very trying to focus on solving little issues in InDesign and sort of help out InDesign users with whatever, creating PDFs a little easier or finding pre-fight problems with images long before the CS package could help you with that. And now that CS can do that, then we include that in our plugins. So we have InDesign plugins, we have a workflow system to keep track of the InDesign documents, and we have a flat plan that we call Chaos. So that's it. So we're aiming at editorial stuff and magazines especially. As I mentioned, we're aiming at the editorial staff of magazines, and traditionally they are not that interested in technology. So we were trying to figure out how can we organize documents, how can we make it easier to produce a magazine without forcing too much of a technology or too much news to the editorial staff. Usually what I try to do is to just illustrate with a couple of documents, because we're not a database solution. We just need to know where the production is. We need to know on what server is the documents lying, and then the customers can keep the servers. They don't need any further investments in technology or hardware. We just need to know where are the documents. So this is, I guess, the traditional way of placing documents on the server. You will find various folders and colors, and people try to keep track of the production with this. What we're doing is, once we open a document, that when we have our plugins running, is as soon as we're in InDesign, we've done a change, we've moved something about, we're closing the document, then this pop-up is first we say we have the user needs to decide what has happened with this document and where will it go next. So in this case, I'm going from layout and say this can now move to the desk, and I'll close it, and I'm saving that as a metadata in the document. We're using that in a small window we call Mag Workflow. So now we have the documents ordered. So under layout we have now 5 documents. Under desk we have another 10 documents. So this layout or this sorting of documents is we're just looking into the files folder, sorting out the documents in the respective events, I guess. So now we can use this, what we call workflow, and say, okay, I'm a layout person, so one of these 6 documents belong to me. I can open it up through the workflow. I'll start work with it. I'll close it down. I'm done with it, and I move it on to the desk, and I'll say close. So now we can see that when I was working, we had a little signature, and when I'm done, it moves over to the desk. So this is how we handle documents. And the idea is just to keep it simple, and once we've managed to do this, once we have organized the documents, we've added all sorts of features with adding comments, for example, to a document saying that I have this idea, or could we change this headline, or should we do something with images or something. So that moves along with the document, which makes it very stable. So if as long as we know where the document is, we have the information about the document. This was developed 4 or 5 years ago, and as our customers started using it more and more, and they started using small comments to communicate to each other instead of mailing or phoning or adding post-its all over the office, we got more and more demands on, now that they can control the document, they know where it is, we can automate stuff, we can take all the documents in one go and, for example, send them off to create PDFs or put them in another event, or do JPEGs or whatever, like just automating easier than sitting with each document by itself. So once this was up and running, the big request was the flat plan, which would be the last part of this short demonstration of everything we have. And it's the idea here is that the editor-in-chief, do I have a couple of minutes? The editor-in-chief or whoever, I guess, in the editorial team builds up a flat plan with little Lego pieces. So we have put a cover on the first page. I can add some info to that, who's photographing or what's the idea with this. And I can add ads, I can add whatever, of course. So this is done by someone who's responsible for the layout of the content of the magazine. And once the document is in place, or once there is an InDesign document, we can go out to the file server, and we just use drag and drop. Again, trying to keep it easy for the users so that it won't be too complex to check in or check out or do any text handling. Just drag and drop from the server that you're used to onto the flat plan. So now we have the same information that we had in the workflow. So we have the name of the document, we know that it's which workflow state it's in, and we have comment that travels along with the document. So this can of course be moved around all the way up until we actually deliver something to print. And I guess what we're very proud of is that we try to be very present with our customers. So we sort of try to figure out all the time what is most asked for. So at the moment we're now looking into solutions where we can, for example, tag these documents and say, well, this story I'd like to go out on the website and have some teaser or a small trailer or something that we're doing this story about this thing, and I want to attract attention on the web about it, but I don't want to export my whole story yet. I just want to say that we're writing about this in the next number, trying to get the web people to actually go to the stores.